good question. We actually had 4 supervisors and 36 staff here. That's a pretty, low ratio, but that's what we had on that particular part. We had a monitoring individual that was actually on site where we believe that the exit occurred was behind the cell wall. The staff that was available at that particular time of day, without going into too many security restrictions, wouldn't know that was going on behind the scene. That's more so a physical plant infrastructure deal that we do more routine daily type inspections of to make sure that these things are right.
Wouldn't they need power tools or something to remove it?
That's something that we're investigating, because you're absolutely right. It's more than just a breach of security. It was some type of help. And we've been, researching, we've been looking, investigating and looking, and it would definitely be some type of tool used other than just the strength of a shared individual.
Shay?
You mentioned a technician earlier. Why didn't that person alert staffers earlier? I know you said somebody was also in the pod at the time and that they were still able to get out. If you could kind of run through.
We're still running through the timeline to narrow that down. That is part of the job, to do that responsibility. That's in everyone's post order. So we're still trying to narrow that down, and as we get information, we'll be sure.
And then also, have the family members of these escapees been notified? Do they know? If you could kind of talk a little bit about what they're saying.
Yeah, some of them have reached out to us to try and help. So we're very grateful for that. We obviously don't want to identify what's going on there, but we're definitely getting some help on trying to locate them.
Sheriff, you said that people are politicizing the escape here at the jail, but we talked with Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick early this morning. She also made it very clear that her department, we talked to the U.S. Marshals, we talked to Louisiana State Police, none of them say they were notified before 10:30 a.m. And then once again, y'all said that y'all discovered this at 8:30. Why wasn't the public and partners, local, state, federal, made aware of this sooner?
So I verified, so we have people on the U.S. Marshals Task Force. That's who we notified to make sure the whole task force is ready to roll. And they've been ready to roll since then. So I'm not sure how those up at the top found out, but I know that we notified the task force earlier because our members sit on it. And they came also up here to check on it. So we know that happened. What was your first part of your question? Chief Kirkpatrick has been nothing but a help to us, and we're very appreciative of both the state police and the New Orleans Police Department.
But once again, you all said that you all made the discovery around 8:30 this morning. The escape happened early hours overnight.
Yeah.
And once again, public was not notified until 10:30 when y'all's press release came out.
So I found out about 9. So the first thing we have to find out is what happened. So you got to go inside the facility to be able to see. They could have been anywhere. We have to make sure that's exactly what happened. We have to pull all the video and find out what happened. That takes a little bit of time. Then we had to first prioritize talking to victims to make sure they were safe and making sure law enforcement could respond to them if they needed something.
I know Superintendent Kirkpatrick.
My bad. You said that they yanked on the cell and they were able to get out and they ran across the interstate, but how were they able to get off the jail property? And also, have you lost trust in your deputies? Because you believe this is an inside job.
Some of them. We have really hard-working deputies, but we're not going to tar and feather everybody with the same brush. We're going to find out exactly what happened, who's responsible, hold them accountable both administratively and criminally.
And how did they get off the jail property? That was my first question.
Get off the jail property. They went out a loading bay door where we bring in supplies, and then they got over a wall. I'm not sure if they used the chief medical can tell you more about how they actually got up.
What we saw was they left, went through an exit door that's in between the actual cell block and the pipe chases. And this is a large facility, so the pipe chase, the exit door, for some reason or another, was designed to lead directly outside. The individuals left out the door, went down the stairs, went to the perimeter wall and scaled the wall. We did some looking today and realized that it's some razor wire that we need to put up, some issues, but they scaled the wall, jumped down, and then you have a clear path to the railroad track and or the interstate.
Sheriff Hudson, will you be releasing the surveillance video that shows the escape?
I think right now we're part of the investigation going on, but I think eventually, yeah, we'll be able to release that. We just have to make sure it doesn't give out any security risks for us for the rest of the folks here still in custody.
Sheriff, do you believe that you need to revise? Do you believe that you need to revise your policies?
Go ahead.
Thank you. CBS News, I'm Katie Bryce, pleasure. I wanted to ask you a little bit, I can't help but notice all the construction that's going on in your backyard.
Yeah.
Does that have anything to do with this? We just saw a police escort bringing in a bunch of concrete. What's going on?
I don't believe it does. That's the new mental health jail, and there's a deputy on duty right there for the gates being open to bring in trucks or whatever needs to come in.
And you said you've been asking for money for a long time. How much money do you need at this point?
The locks alone, I believe, are
5.2 million.
yeah, just the locks. I mean, 5.2 million.
9 people are still on the loose, just to clarify. So it's 9 people that escaped.
9 people are
And
still.
what
Sheriff,
about
do
the
you feel like
delay
you
in
need to
getting the
revise your
photos?
policies on notification to the public as well as other law
You already
enforcement?
answered that question, Sheriff. Thank you for your
Sheriff didn't really
I'll
answer
tell you
that
what,
question if we
Well, let me
could.
tell you this. We're going to debrief on everything that went right and went wrong, and we will move accordingly to make sure that for every incident that occurs that we do the best that we can.
What about getting
we'll look at it?
What about getting the photos out, though? I mean, to get the public aware of who is out there, there was another delay before that was released to the media so we could put it out to everybody.
We have to confirm who it is and pull their information. That's what the delay is.
There was a
And there was also a
multi-hour delay
with
between the
getting
names
photos
being
from law
released.
enforcement.
We'll have
NOPD
another
also said that
briefing.
as well.
I've answered the question.
Yeah, we'll have another
I've answered the
briefing
question.
at about 5:30. So if you have any more questions, you can call me directly. Y'all have my email, so you can call or email me directly. And if you have any more off-topic questions, you can ask me.
All right, we got to go on.
All right, the Orleans Parish Sheriff just wrapping up a news conference with some shocking new details about how this escape managed to happen. Started around just after 1 o'clock this morning. These inmates started creating a commotion. We've seen pictures from the area where that breach happened, where it appears that a toilet was taken off the wall and that these inmates used plumbing access to make their escape. Now, this area of the jail they described as a lower security part of the jail, despite the fact that these 10 inmates we now know were wanted for some pretty serious charges. One of them recently convicted for murder. So despite the fact that they were facing some pretty hefty charges, they were being held at a lower security part of the jail. Sheriff Susan Hudson saying that a slide door that's in that area that had defective locks and was able to be manipulated off of its track is one of the ways that these inmates managed to escape. Again, she's now saying that there were only 10 of them, that an inmate previously reported as one of the escapees was just lost basically in another part of the facility, and that's Keith Lewis. We have been showing pictures of him. We received those pictures from the sheriff's office and that information from them, but now they do not believe that he escaped. He is still in the Orleans Justice Center securely. So now we know it was 10 people, one of them in custody, Kendall Miles. And as we go through this timeline, it is really shocking. Mike Pearlstein here on set with me. You know, the deputies apparently assisted in the discovery at around 8:13 a.m. That's when they really discovered that this had happened. But, you know, hearing Susan Hudson talk, hearing her top brass talk, it sounds like they are confident that someone on the inside and someone on the outside helped commit this escape.
Well, obviously the escape very extensive, and I can just clarify when she is referring to the tracks being able to be manipulated by inmates, those are actually sliding cell doors. And I remember taking a tour with Susan Hudson and some of her top deputies not long after she was elected, pointing out these, she called them design flaws, in which inmates could take wadded up toilet paper, towels, and other things to get the sliding jail cell doors off track so that once you slammed it shut, it was not secure. It appeared to be closed, but inmates having rigged it with these towels and tissue paper could open it at a later time, and she did point that out as a defect. I know she's raised it before as a something that needs to be fixed. So when she's referring to a lockdown at 10:30, a hard lockdown in which all of the inmates in a pod have to return to their cells behind the sliding, just like you see in any jail cell depicted in any movie or TV show, that thing slams shut. However, if it has been manipulated by inmates, and she is saying that in this case it was, what appeared to be a shut jail cell door was not fully secured, able to be opened, and then she mentioned that the toilet in question that was removed and the hole in the wall was in some kind of a handicapped access cell.
Yes.
Which raises, again, even more questions. How did the inmates in other types of cells have access to that cell with some kind of special, toilet fixtures? And then once again, to get through that wall and able to go to what was described as a loading dock. And then we have a pretty clear picture now of breaching the exterior wall in some form or fashion.
She said they climbed over it and that they're now investigating razor wire. There was clearly a gap in the razor wire that allowed these inmates to escape over the wall, and then they ran across Interstate 10 in the early morning hours last night. Anybody driving along Interstate 10 may have seen them and ran across I-10 and then escaped from there.
And let me tell you,